everyone, how are you doing? Let me know if audio works and all of that stuff because, I have a heater going. Alexa, turn off basement heater. Sorry to all of you that have a basement heater, called basement heater and a Alexa device, because that would be, turned off your basement heater there. Anyways, let me know if the audio is working well, because this is a slightly different setup than we normally do. We will be diving into a Should You Back It? Should You Back It for, I almost said Marvel Zombies, for Massive Darkness Dungeons of Shadowreach. But this will be less of the typical Should You Back It I typically do, because, well, frankly, I haven't looked at most of the campaign. I also won't be going, we'll just be going over the campaign. We'll be going over the campaign. Also, if you've watched enough of my CMON Should You Back It's, you probably know roughly where this is going to end up anyway. But there's a lot of nuance and conversation around, do we even play the games that we already own? Yes, Rebme, I'm looking at you. Also, don't ask questions that you don't want to know the answer to, or more specifically, don't ask questions that I don't want to know the answer to. So, Rebme, how many times have you played Massive Darkness in the last year? Outside of covering the new prototype, just the one time, I think. I'd have to look exactly like logged plays and all that, but I think I only played it once this year outside of the cover. Again, once the new game came, I dove into it a few times because I need to cover the new content, but it's not a game that hits the table as often, although to be fair, I've also only played, I want to say I played Black Plague once, and Marvel Zombies twice. Ish. These are all rough guesses based on rough range. Cthulhu Death May Die I've played a bunch, if that counts. There's a lot of these great games, and it's hard to table them all. But that does beg the question, do you need to own all these great games that you're not playing? For me, I like all of them enough that I will keep these. I've gotten rid of plenty of CMON games that are great, but I realize won't hit the table, and these ones are all good enough overall, or not good enough. These are amazing experiences that even tabling them once a year is mostly worth it. The good news as well is, for me, I find these games, Massive Darkness, Zombicide, Cthulhu Death May Die, they're games that I only vaguely need to reference the rulebook here and there. Cthulhu Death May Die, never. Zombicide, only for abilities. And Massive Darkness, I haven't played it enough that I still need to reference rules once in a while. But overall, I have them down, so even tabling them once a year is not the worst. But it's still a lot of money to pay for games that you're not tabling all that often, especially when you have a backlog. Robbie Sanger, do we get to see gameplay? No, not in this video. This is a Should You Back It. It's barely going to follow that formula, let alone following the gameplay. So, Abby, will you pick up your Massive Darkness and shake it so we can all cringe at the plastic miniatures banging into each other? I don't think so. The way I have it stored, I have my Massive Darkness, I can show you sometime. I have it all stored in a way where I have all the Season 1 content, and then all the Massive Darkness 1 content, and Massive Darkness 2, and a lot of them are just kind of bagged together. I don't think the shaking would be that bad in one box, but the box that has all the boss miniatures, that would be a nightmare. Gmoney99, frankly, I've seen too many games that are not getting played as it is, so I'm not backing anything for the foreseeable future. At least that's the plan. So, Abby, chat, Super Mexican Bowl for lunch today. Soup, I think soup. Jerome, still on the fence but backing this, looking forward to the stream, hoping to go into detail about the add-ons. That's what has me hesitant on backing someone with severe FOMO. I will be going into detail on the add-ons in the sense that I will be learning about them together. This is almost going to be more of a watch how I do the research for my Should You Back It videos, but in real time and with less details because I'm trying to do it in real time and therefore mindful of the time. So that's mostly what this is. I only barely know about the campaign. I know about the core box because I've played the core box. I've loosely scanned the campaign. I don't know half the add-ons. I know they released the add-on yesterday, the all-in yesterday. We have 1 day left to go on the campaign. Also, obligatory reminder, I am CMO of GameFound. This is a campaign that's launching on GameFound, and they have a big presence on GameFound. Take that into account. But I also you'll find that my coverage is consistent with all of my CMON coverage before or after GameFound. Robbie, I think you should paint all your Massive Darkness miniatures. I think so too. But there's a lot of miniatures I think I should paint that would get table time, that would get painted first. Robbie's with Mexican Bowl. That's 1 for Mexican Bowl, 1 for soup. Brian, so me, big thick juicy steak. That wasn't an option. G Money, my Cthulhu Death May Die Kickstarter just came in, so digging into it. Yes, that's a better game than Massive Darkness, and I love Massive Darkness. So me, G Money, same, except the Fate Forge expansion. That was an instant pack. Brian, Troll, you know I sadly live in a vegetarian household. I did not realize you lived in a vegetarian household. How did I miss that? I think I completely missed that, Submy. Applebee's, hey, Applebee's, Brian, I won't tell if you owned. Ernie, I don't have any Massive Darkness, so went all in on this one. Enjoyed, Ernie, it's a great game. Swebmy, Alex, will you please rename your Alexa so mine don't respond when you talk to yours? No, absolutely not. You can all rename yours so that when I decide to say things like, I almost wanted to say device name, turn off all lights. The problem is I would actually really screw with all the stuff back here, so I'm not going to do it. But I almost did. If I could, if I could. Anyways. Where were we? Apple needs. Just another reason to change the activation keyword to the Alexa devices to Echo instead. That is a good reason. G-Money, so what kind of soup? Potato and kale soup with impossible sausage. Yeah, that sounds so much better than a Mexican bowl. G-Money, Apple needs, that's what I did. Achim Hassel, I wish I could just back this game, but shipping is just too high. Unfortunately, rest of the world shipping is too high. I hear you. JK Fleeter, I don't have a lot of games, but I like dungeon crawlers, and I like the variety in this one. I decided to back, and I'm on the fence for the 3D terrain. Thoughts on 3D terrain? Whoa. That seems like a perfect time to dive into the should you back it. So, let's go ahead and go through this over here. Massive Darkness, Dungeons of Shadowreach, 7,185 backers, $2 million raised, 1 day left to go, 1 day and 7 hours left to go. If you're watching this not live, then I apologize for the chaos that will ensue across the course of this video, because, you know, I assume chaos will ensue across the course of this video. Also, let me mute my computer so I don't get random dings from Teams and WhatsApp and all those things as those happen. Anyways, now the computer's muted. Is the phone muted? Nope, the phone's not muted. Let's mute everything so that I can be a responsible content creator. Massive Darkness. This is the follow-up to Massive Darkness 2, which is the follow-up to Massive Darkness 1. I've already talked about the name. We won't heavily focus on that. But it's basically more Massive Darkness with the better system, the asymmetric classes. This is a dungeon crawler that's all about rolling dice and having fun. There's not a nice... When I say it's all about rolling dice and having fun, there are many dungeon crawlers that are very much about the strategy and trying to min-max things. You play Tenaris Adventures, you play Sword and Sorcery. There's a lot more trying to min-max everything. This is more about like, hey, I want to explore, crash down some doors, roll a handful of dice, power up my characters, and just have a good time all around. And it does deliver on that experience. It mixes in highly asymmetric classes that give you little mini-games. Each class is its own little mini-game that keeps the game experience variable as you play through it, because playing as one character versus another character is an entirely different experience. Think learning a new character in Too Many Bones, not that level of depth, but this is hardly a game where you're like, oh, my character rolls an extra dice on ranged attacks. No, your character has an entire mini-game on how they handle ranged attacks. Your character stops the flow of time and operates outside of people's turns, which is amazing. Like, there's a lot of interesting things going on about the gameplay experience that makes it a lot of fun to dive into, even playing through the same missions just as a different character. Like, I love Zombicide, but, like, you know, having like, oh, my character has Shove is nice. Like, I love Shove, one of my favorite abilities, but this is a complete game change to the way the characters are structured. That's the overall pitch of what Massive Darkness 2 is. This is a Massive Darkness 2 campaign, but Dungeons of Shadowreach leaning more into a traditional dungeon crawler theme as opposed to the Heaven and Hell from Massive Darkness to Hellscape. But we have over here, we have the core pledges for the game are going to be the adventurous, no, that's not the core pledges. Where's the core pledges? Let's scroll down over here. Starting gear, $110 for the core box. Obviously, that will include all of the stretch goals that we expect to see, that we will go through a whole bunch of them as we go through this campaign, as we go through this, you know, video over here. We also have the epic treasures that will give you the core box plus the campaign expansion. Now, I haven't played a ton of the Massive Darkness 2 campaign. I started it, but I haven't played a ton of it. But overall, I think it's fun. It seems to be better balanced than the original campaign, but I haven't played enough of it to really comment on it, and honestly, I had critiques about the balance in Massive Darkness 2 in general. The campaign is a whole different conversation. I've seen mixed opinions around the campaign in it, so I can't heavily talk about it. I will say, for me, this is not a game that I'm diving into as a campaign game. I have plenty of those already. Maybe I will play the campaign one day, but honestly, more practically speaking, I'll probably play campaign games as campaign games, and this as a single shot, but to each your own. I mean, many of us in the chat, as we can already see, are people who are over inundated with too many of these big box experiences and are cooling off as it is. But if you don't fall into that category, this might be a great way to get a great dungeon crawler that is a single shot and also accomplishes that campaign itch if you don't have a shelf full of campaign games you aren't already playing. One of the things that I find myself falling into a trap, as it were, as far as the way crowdfunding works, is I personally have some degree of crowdfunding fatigue of these games. Like, once upon a time, I would have done, well, not once upon a time I would have, you know, when Massive Darkness 2 Hellscape was on Kickstarter, I did like 4 videos for it or something like that, 3 or 4 videos around the campaign. An initial should you back at like day 1, like, oh my gosh, let's dive into it. A follow-up midway through the campaign, a last 24 hours. I did a giant giveaway on my channel, like, if we can reach X number of subscribers, I'm going to do an all-in. Like, I gave away a full pledge of Massive Darkness 2, the original campaign. Like, I'm super excited about these things in general. And I'm still excited about a lot of crowdfunding, but I definitely have less of the hype that I once did. And I don't know how much of that is, you know, just seeing so many campaigns. How much of it is getting too many games that I don't have enough time to play as it is. How much of it is fatigue around the fact that more and more crowdfunding seems to have lost some of its shine or appeal. Like, there's a formula to any CMON campaign, to any Awakened Realms campaign. There's a structure to it, and are they equally exciting? And I don't know whether that's me based on my own personal journey, whether that's how crowdfunding has evolved post-COVID and some of the magic being lost around, you know, campaigns not showing up, campaigns asking for more money, or how much of it is common to you as well. And I always have to be mindful of that as a creator. I don't want my own semi-fatigue to come through as like, crowdfunding is less fun. It is a little less fun for me, but how much of that is true for you as well? I did a poll once in my audience. I did one of my random polls, and a lot of you did say that you're backing far fewer than you used to. It doesn't mean I'm not excited, but it does mean I'm less excited about these campaigns. From there, we have the Dragon's Hordes Pledge. This is going to be $300 for, it's not the all-in, but it's the all-in around the gameplay content for the game, giving you the core box, the campaign expansion, and then the 3 other expansions. Then we have over here the Adventurer's Gear, the RPG stuff. I won't be talking about that much today. I don't know RPGs well enough. Even when they seem cool, they're not getting tabled. So I need to table more board games before I dive into RPGs. And then we have the Adventurer's Horde all-in over here, which gives you the RPG and the gameplay content for $340. This is not everything, because everything we can find under the add-ons. You can see the 3 main expansions, Creatures of Legend, Sunken Temple, and Wicked Hamlet. We'll go through those soon enough. You have the Fire Giant for $15. This is a freebie if you back their last campaign, otherwise it's $15. We have the Zombicide Fantasy Crossover Pack for $8, giving you a crossover pack with Zombicide. Which version of Zombicide? Looks like Black Plague overall, but that makes sense. They've typically done these crossover packs with Black Plague. Again, once upon a time, and this is like, this I lost the appeal for a long time ago, but when I first got into crowdfunding, I was like, I want every crossover pack, I want to use my characters from this game and that game, and now I'm like, there's not a chance on earth I'm going through Zombicide to find the 4 miniatures from the 300 I have in order to use them in Massive Darkness. I have so much Massive Darkness, I don't need to do that. So even though the appeal of more content options is great, the practicality and execution of it is never going to happen. That's a possibly word of warning to those of you who have too many of these games. These are often great in theory and in practice less used. Not never used, less used. We have the Uninspired Clear Dice for $22, the Shadowreach Clear Dice for $16, giving you more cool clear dice for your games, as well as a French language pack for $35. So not a ton of options over here as far as the extras, but then over here, these over here, Massive Darkness 2 Stretch Goals, the Darkbringer pack. This gives you the stretch goals on the first campaign for $120. Once again, a reminder to those of you who are like, I'll just wait for retail, or even I'll be upset that they're at retail first. You can see over here, stretch goals alone for a previous CMON game, forget the core box, stretch goals alone are well worth the price of admission. Yes, you'll get your game later. Sometimes, not always. But you'll get your game later even though it's showing up in retail. Yes, you are paying more for the game than you would pay for a retail copy of the game. But that's because you're not actually paying for a retail copy of the game. You're paying for all the goodies that come with any CMON pledge. Then we have the Massive Darkness 2 class pack. This is a great idea from them, giving you the extra classes from the expansions of Massive Darkness 2, so that people can get access to that, while also not pillaging the sales of their core box. So you still have the core box that you have to buy, but this gives you all those extras. And then we have the 3D Terrain Essentials for $40. I saw someone posted in comments in the chat over there, are they worth it or are they not? I do find it's game by game. For me in Massive Darkness 2, I do like playing with the terrain. I find that it's not that hard to pull it out, and it just does look cooler on the table. A 3D plastic bridge, the doors for sure. I do like having the 3D terrain, and I do use it and benefit from it. Is it amazing? Is it essential? Absolutely not. Is it nice to have? Definitely so. And with that, before we go on to the next section of this, we're going to take a look and see where chat is. Got Massive Darkness 2 as a gift a week ago, have played it twice and loved it. Any reason I should just go all in this? Would it make sense more to get the expansions for Hellscape? I think if you like Hellscape, just get the expansions for Hellscape. I mean, there's so much content here to choose from, you don't need all of it. Ellie Ornstein, is there any reason not to wait until Pledge Manager opens it back then, with accurate shipping estimates and timelines? No, honestly, one of the, more than once upon a time, I've done several videos on ways to save money on crowdfunding, and one of them is to just wait for the Pledge Manager. The reason for that is not just the time value of money, even though time value of money is a thing, but rather that very often doing crowdfunding, you're in the heat of the moment and you're more willing to spend lots of money that you probably shouldn't, and then once that immediacy phase goes away, once that oh, the timer's ticking down, we have 1 day and 6 hours left to go, once that's gone, you tend to move into a, okay, maybe I get it, maybe I don't. And you'll end up saving a lot of money. You'll end up not backing things that you were otherwise going to back just because that pressure has gone away and you're like, yeah, I'll get it. Again, one of the things that's baffling about crowdfunding is people, myself included, will shell out $500 for an all-in that you would never pay if that was on the shelf in front of you. If it was on the shelf in front of you in a game store, you would be like, $500 for all this? Please, no. Let me go spend $600 on crowdfunding and wait a year and a half instead. That's much better. We have over here, Brian, no, where are we? Eck, any review of Northgate Horizons? I haven't played the new content. I played the original way back in the day. Fun fact, they were one of the companies that gave me a shot at covering prototypes. I think they may have been the first prototype I ever covered. Brian T. Alex, I have 15 campaign games. What makes Massive Darkness different that I wouldn't need another game? That I just think you should get this not as a campaign game, but as a single shot. That's the answer there. Tim Sherman, looks great, but I'll wait for it to come up before pulling the trigger on this one. Fair enough. Wojak is on a YouTuber. Core box plus 1 expansion with campaign cards for classes. That's best option. Andrew Gearskull, I'm backing up, but they have too many delayed crowdfunding projects. And since January, the campaigns have much less revenues than in the past, but I love their games like this one. That's case by case. It depends on which game. Like, for instance, Cthulhu Let May Die did great overall. So you say since January. Since January 2024, that makes sense. Cthulhu Let May Die did great. DC United did great, but it is case by case. Like, God of War definitely did less than I thought it would, and this one definitely did less than I thought it would as well. Black Hammer. As someone who's never played Massive Darkness or Zombicide, how do the character minigames not kill the game's tempo? Oh, they're amazing. I love them. I don't have a good answer for you. I do worry that the Chronomancer might, the way it's structured. I have not played with the Chronomancer, but for the most part, it's just your own character with your own abilities. The minigames are just the way you take your turn. It doesn't mean that it's a minigame where everyone has to pause anything they're doing, other than the fact that they'd have to pause for you to take your turn anyway. Like, what's the difference if I roll a bunch of dice versus if I draw a bunch of cards in a push your luck little game to see how well my ranger shoots? Ultimately, it's just a minigame you're playing. AV09, you shouldn't. The next time, bye. Dwarf Furious, yes or no, I don't have a lot of time. Are there dwarfs? Then the answer is yes. Rosen, hello, I heard the word no, okay, thanks. And your Gayskull, the Mythic Games disaster has impacted negatively crowdfunding campaigns. That is definitely true. So, Emmy, I think there's a natural evolution of people in this hobby. There's lots of excitement around crowdfunding in the beginning. You back too much, games have to deliver, you don't play what you have. You start backing, you start purging, enter the refinement period. I love talking to people that just got into the hobby. Their excitement and shine is fun to see and reminisce about feeling that way myself. Yeah, so I do wonder that. I think that's definitely truth to that statement, but I also think that general arc is true, but I think crowdfunding in general has also seen an evolution. I think both things are true at the same time. Rosa, that's one of the reasons why we're backing Steam games. Cool extras. Jerome, the Darkbringer pack and Master Darkness class crossplay with this version. Yes, there's crossplay. Jakey Fleeter, thank you, sir. Brian, limited lines with fuller collections. Selling games to make room for new is a big obstacle for many. Means less purchasing for that next new shiny. Yes. Also, I'm going really quickly, which is generally what I do, but to those of you who are new over here, when I read chat, I try to go as quickly as possible to be able to respond to every single person. 3 F-Cups. Where the 5 ebooks already discussed? Sorry, joining late, we'll love more info on those. I'm not a RPG person, so I can't heavily go into those. Alchemazo, Pledge Manager doesn't have stretch pay though? Pledge Manager absolutely should have stretch pay. Unless they said there's no stretch pay in Pledge Manager, by default on GameFound you certainly can have a Pledge Manager stretch pay. I just, whether or not they chose not to enable it, I don't know. Professor Meg, okay, Master Darkness is cool and all, but I made Title played 2 earrings this morning, so, yes, but did I show you all the cool bits from Massive Darkness 2? Brian T, Professor Meg, Aaron Taylor, this looks great, but with Ivy saying they are doing 3 campaigns this year as well as 3 minigames for Gen Con, I'll be saving my money for those. So at me, Meg, photos of earrings in Discord, never played any Master Darkness. For a complete newbie, this just makes sense to ignore FOMO and get Master Darkness Hellscape. You can feel free to get Hellscape. Professor Meg, Alex text you the photo if you want to show. I don't know if I can. I'm not going to. I'm not. Okay, the problem is I can pull up. There's 2 ways I can do this. I can try to pull up on my computer, in which case I would mess up the stream because I don't like messing with things midstream. Or I can try to show you on my phone, and I just don't think the camera would pick it up well. But you can try to see. We can try. Actually, I guess that's not bad. That's not the worst. Oh, it has to be. The problem is it's focused on where I am. So I guess you can kind of see them. That's the little like bits from what's it called? Those are the little bits from Title Blades 2 at the bottom. So that's that thing over there. Alex and Meg, is there an IV Games trip in your future? Not that I currently know about. Rosen Krostov, the games that I have stretch pay as in Pledge Manager 2, but it's limited until at the end of the Pledge Manager. Okay, got it. Digital Magician, how much did you think Master Darkness would have had to fund to be successful? I mean, it funded enough to be successful. My personal guess is I thought this would be closer to 3.5 million. It's crossing 2, but, you know, I thought it would do 3.5 at the beginning of the campaign, before we launched. Never played any Master Darkness. Should I get this one or one of their already released games? If you get one, get Master Darkness 2, not 1. Don't get like the original one. Either this campaign or 2. The original one is nowhere near as good. Okay. Now that we caught up in chat, let's go back to things. So, stretch goals. We got a whole lot of stretch goals. This, once again, is the reason why you back Massive Darkness campaigns. You do not back it for anything except the stretch goals, because why would you? So we're just going to go through these over here. These are going to be a whole bunch of heroes over here. Let's see the fast way to scroll through them, because they do so much information over here. We have all the characters, so we have a new warrior character. Warriors are the classes that have multiple fighting styles, and you lean into their whole minigame is that you have multiple fighting styles, and as you use each fighting style, you get better at that fighting style. Okay. Then we have the Herbalist. Herbalist was my least favorite class from the ones I got to try. Not bad, but overall you're planting your own little garden. And these are new characters, new monsters, new roaming monsters. We have the Pork Porcupangolin, which I love. This is a roaming monster for the game. Then we have over here, do I want to do it this way? I don't want to do it this way. Is there a better way to do this over here? Stretch goals. Because this is one thing where I wonder if they did it. I don't think they did it. They showed the stretch goals on the page. They didn't. They didn't. Simon, we should talk Simon. So Simon generally has done a great job of showing all their stretch goals in a very visual format, and then even when they're on GameFound, even though they have these over here, they've still usually shown them, but they didn't do it this time around. And I find, as much as like I work for GameFound, and I do think GameFound's a good platform, a better platform, I don't love the stretch goals over here. I find them always more annoying to click through or see visually compared to the way they have them in the past. So I liked it when Simon did both, honestly. But basically, we have a lot of characters. A lot of characters being added to the game, various roaming monsters, various minions, so this can be the mobs you're dealing with. A lot of the RPG stuff. We have Glendor. What is he? Is he a paladin? What is he? Glendor is a cleric. Oh, the clerics. I like the clerics. The cleric is fun. I like the cleric a lot. That was a fun little class to play with. They're basically playing the Arc Nova minigame, which is very satisfying. Then we have, more homunculus leader. Is this just a leader? Do we have a mob to it? No, leader figure and 6 mob cards. Okay, no, the minions are a separate stretch goal. Okay, yeah, Simon's done this in the past. I like their little, these are cute as far as they're stacking on top of each other. And then I managed to lose all the stretch goal because I scrolled over there. Let's go through it. We have our RPG character. We have a fire demon. This is going to be a roaming monster, I assume. I assume it's a roaming monster. A scale comparison over here. That's a fun little miniature there. We have, more monsters. What miniature is this? This is a cleric. Is it a cleric? It's a chronomancer. Chronomancer. What's the chronomancer? Do I not know the chronomancer? It's another dual class hero that can play as a wizard or a chronomancer. Okay. Oh, the chronomancer is the time guy. I know the chronomancer is, never mind. The chronomancer is a time person. The fire threw me off, but the fact that it could be a wizard makes sense. Okay, then we have Winslet over here, and I'm only picking and choosing some of these to focus on. I like this guy over here. This is a little like a bat. Is it an actual bat, or is it a monster in a bat? It's a warrior in a bat costume? Holy hell. What is he? What is this guy? Winslet's speed exceeds that of most mortal warriors. As a being of air, this is like an air bat warrior. I like it. I like it a lot. This is pretty cool. But that's some of the stuff you have coming out currently. We have the fairy dragon leader over here, which is a nice mix of fairies and dragons. That, honestly, I'm going to remove that word nice. It's a mix of fairy and dragons. And then, of course, you have RPG stuff. So kind of just loosely scrolling through stretch goals. As of right now, there's, 47 stretch goals. In the last day, there's going to be another, 15 unlocked-ish, maybe. I don't know the exact amount. But usually they have a degree of everything charging through the last 24 hours as things ramp up. We're already at 2 million. This might hit 2.5. Maybe, if things tend to ramp up towards the end of a CMON campaign, so we'll see where this goes. But as far as the add-ons, let's go ahead and look at the actual add-ons and see what you get for the the expansions over here. So, expansions. We have the Creatures of Legend. This was the newest expansion released just before they did the all-in drop. I was smart this time, and Simon, I didn't do my video on Tuesday right before your all-in dropped. I waited till after your all-in dropped, and now I'm doing my video. For those who've been watching my Simon last day coverage or last few days coverage, they historically have a history of trying to drop the all-in right after my video goes up. But over here, we have the Creatures of Legend. The main appeal of this is going to be the giant dragon over here. You have this red dragon. It's cool. I like it better than the last dragon, because the last dragon in Massive Darkness 2, Hellscape, felt completely out of place to the game. So, I mean, it's a fun miniature to have, but it just felt so out of place. And in fact, it felt out of place because it was from a game that they were going to do in the past, and they repurposed the miniature for Massive Darkness 2 while feeling out of place. We have these oozlings. Those are cool. I like the little, I like changes up to the plastic over here, so having those acrylic see-through plastic over there for miniatures, that's nice. We have past that just the mobs, the components, an epic encounter, things like that. Nothing particularly crazy over here. It's a big box expansion with a big box miniature, and then a bunch of classic stuff such as oozes and doors and mimics and all those things to make all those classic D&D fans happy. Then we have over here the Sunken Temple. Sunken Temple gives you, this is the first one I did cover on To Back or Not To Back a few weeks ago. This gives you a lot of aquatic kind of enemies, as well as the aquatic tiles that will be more hassle for you to wade through as you go through those. So that gives you something else as far as the torments to go through, the introduced mechanic to be added to any quests. They set out the quests that we face with trials they must overcome or suffer their consequences. And then we have water zones, thematic enemies to the water zones. Nothing too crazy here, just more extra stuff for the game. Which again, I don't think you need any of this. Does it even come with a class? Does it even come with a new class? So this is the thing, if you're diving into this stuff, I think the main thing that will give you enhanced replayability to Massive Darkness is more classes for the game. Will it hold its value? We can cut to the whole should you back it stuff. This will hold its value on the secondhand market. CMON, even though the campaigns have been a little, even though the campaigns in some cases have been less than they have been in the past, they still do a great job holding the value. If you look at the secondhand market for any CMON campaign, if you try to go buy all of the Cthulhu They Die stuff that just showed up, they're still holding the value just fine in the secondhand market. And that's going to be true for basically everything everything we cover here. This stuff is going to sell for more, or you'll be able to get your money back and or then some on top of it if you find this is not a game that works for you. Whether you sell it brand new because a year and a half from now you no longer care, or whether you play it first and then sell it because you find that you don't like it, you will get your money back on this. That's not the question. The question is, if you aren't selling it, if you are keeping it, is it worth it? Like, just because you can buy it, should you buy it? Are you buying a lot of boxes that will sit on the shelf and make the game harder to play? More content for a game does make it harder to play. And so far over here, I'm not really seeing all the classes. Like, they're not really leaning into tons of class variety like they did the first time round, which honestly might be part of why that this campaign's not doing as well. Like, I'm a fan of Massive Darkness, and I don't think I would need anything more than the core box. The core box would give me more class variety, more character variety. The stretch goals would have me covered as well. I haven't even seen, like, I didn't see any new classes in the stretch goals, which means so far, as of right now, from what I can see, oh, Underspire. Did I miss Underspire? Oh, Underspire has the Emissary over here. They have this over here. The Emissary is part of the campaign expansion. So there you go. Then you're going to want that for the campaign expansion. But outside of that, you're really not looking at tons of class variety here. You're looking for more content in the dungeons. And for me, I think class variety is the thing that gives you the biggest gameplay variability. So far, looking at this, if you're someone who backed Massive Darkness, if you already have Massive Darkness 2 Hellscape, you don't need most of this. Get the new core box because that will give you all the stretch goals, and then skip on the rest. By the way, as usual, this is advice I'm giving, not necessarily advice I'm following, but get the core box, you'll get all the stretch goals, you get the best bang for your buck. As much as it all holds its value, ratio-wise, you get the best amount of holding its value if you just back the core box and the stretch goals there. And that will give you everything you need to keep playing and expanding your Massive Darkness 2 Hellscape experience. All the extra dungeon stuff over here, this is nice to have, definitely not essential, and I think you're better served if you're someone who doesn't have all the stuff from the original, get this Massive Darkness 2 class pack. This will give you all the stuff from the first campaign, give you the new classes, the Tinkerer, the Monk, the Necromancer, the Druid, all these things from the first campaign, giving you a lot of class variety for your game. Honestly, you're pretty well served. If you got Massive Darkness 2 Hellscape core box, Massive Darkness 2 Dungeon of Shadowreach core box, and Massive Darkness 2 class pack, you are good to go. And you could go ahead and get the stretch goals as well from the first time round. For over here, the stretch goals, the Darkbringer pack, that will give you a ton as well. That might be the best bang for your buck. Okay, there we go. So we have, get the $110 campaign over here, get the Massive Darkness 2 Stretch Goals Darkbringer pack for $120 if you don't already have it. Get the Massive Darkness 2 class pack for $40 if you don't already have it. If you really want to splurge, get the 3D Terrain Essentials, and that's your little custom Massive Darkness order that is reasonable while still spending $300. But it is probably the most gameplay content for bang for your buck. Most gameplay content bang for your buck compared to anything else you have over here. So there's my kind of recommendation as far as should you back it on Massive Darkness 2. Will it hold its value? Absolutely. Should you get it all? Probably not. Am I going to get it all? Even though I've only played the game once in the past year, not counting diving into the expansion for the sake of new content? Probably. I like the game. It's very fun. It's easy to dive in. One of the big things for me, this is a personal note here, and then we'll go catch up on chat before we see what else we have to cover. One of my personal goals for the way I keep games is, for me, it's far less about how frequently I play, and it's far more about how easy is it to dive into that game if I haven't played it in a year. If I haven't played it in a year, if I haven't played it in 2 years, can I dive straight into the game without having to relearn the game? And if the answer is no, I'm a whole lot more critical about whether I should or shouldn't keep that game in my collection. Because as soon as I have to read a rulebook to play the game again, it's less likely to be tabled. Versus if it's just a question of having not gotten to the table, but I can just dive in and not have to read a whole bunch of stuff, that's easy to dive in. That makes it easy to play games. Like, oh, Massive Darkness 2? Yeah, I haven't played it in a bit. Let's go ahead and just table it. Like, again, Zombicide, I just pulled it off the shelf a few weeks ago and hadn't played it in probably a year. Black Plague Zombicide. And it's just easy to dive straight into it. So that's kind of a big thing for me. Which means, for me, I don't mind having it all. Like, what I might do is I might get all the new content and finally release all my old Massive Darkness 1 content. I might give up on the fact that I have the compatibility pack for all of that stuff, or at least the mobs. Maybe the roaming monsters I'll keep, but the mobs, like, I don't need it all, and this is the responsible part of me talking that probably won't listen anyway, but that's neither here nor there. But again, that's the difference between advice and actually what I will do. Let's go ahead and catch up on chat. Okay, where are we? Cecil Geep, Tips for Dorge, Massive Darkness 2. Is the Darkbringer pack worth it if you don't have Hellscape? I think so. I'd have to go through it again and see what's in it, but I think so. I don't think you need it. For sure you don't need it. But again, get the class pack more than anything else. I don't know if I have it in me to buy Massive Darkness. CMON still owes me 5 projects. Not sure I want to make it 6. That's very reasonable. At the end of the day, like, I'm not too worried about CMON. Like, they're one of the companies that never asked for money. They've delivered everything. They never asked for money, despite all the flack they get. Like, they should get props. A lot of companies asked for money when the whole COVID thing happened, and they didn't. And so props to them for that. But they're not perfect. I'm not trying to say they're perfect. I'm trying to say that like, they have always delivered on their debts, but it is certainly something to be mindful of. When you have six campaigns from a single company that goes belly up, that is certainly going to sting a lot. So it's worth considering. So I don't like messing with things midstream. I call BS. Tech Resolution doing live streams is a cornerstone of BGC streams. No. It happening is a cornerstone. I hate it. Chris Roberts. It was Gallender, but he changed his name during school. Glinder. I'm guessing that's a joke about Galinda and Glinda, but who's Glender? Was one of the characters I covered? Was that one of the characters I covered? That makes sense. Every Stretch Goal Hero has 2 class options. Aaron Taylor, will you have a review of the Twisted Realms games, which is a preview? I was curious about ratings for each game. Check out my week in review. My week in review generally has thoughts on the games I've played, and I've played all 3 games. So if you check out my week in review going up this week, I will have thoughts on Twisted Realms. Why do you like CMD more than MD? Why do you like Cthulhu May Die more than Massive Darkness? Because it's a better game, obviously. But realistically speaking, I think that there's something incredibly satisfying about slowly powering up as you reach the brink of destruction. For me, the cornerstone of why I love Cthulhu May Die as a system is every game always ramps up in acceleration, so that by the time you get to the end, you either die when you were about to win, or you win when you were about to die. And I love that crescendo every single time. Chris Roberts, what is the too long don't read on RPG stuff here? Too long don't read is I don't know RPG stuff well enough. Oh, did I just lose chat? Where am I? Okay. I wish they would make a bigger card holder to hold all the cards, including Massive Darkness. Not going to fit all the ones. I don't disagree. Subjective opinion, but I feel the quirky aesthetics of the playable characters might turn off those initially drawn to the more classical theme of this version of Massive Darkness. Do you mean like the mini games, or do you mean like literally the design? I don't know if you mean character design or if you mean the mini games. Well, Jack, called it. Core box plus expansion campaign for cards to 10 levels. I don't know the expansion campaign for cards to 10 levels is. Oh, I know what you mean. Yes, that makes sense. Like the normal Massive Darkness only goes up to level 5. If you're playing through the full arc, they go up to level 10. Chat, we're playing Castle Burgundy tonight. Which expansion should we add? Vineyards. Oh my gosh, Vineyards. Vineyards is so good, but you know what's also good? The shields. The little shield tokens that give you powers and abilities. Oh, Castle Burgundy is so good. I should play more Castle Burgundies. We should get rid of Cthulhu May Die and Massive Darkness and all that. Successful. All. No. Achim. Vineyards. Exactly. Vineyards. Yes. Shields are also great. Oh, Achim, I don't know who you are, but you and I are all on the same page. Shields and Vineyards are the way to go. Campaign boxes also only have 1 Kickstarter exclusive box. One could always get them later from retail. Are you going to Gamma Expo next week? I can't wait. Yes, I am going to Gamma Expo next week. By next week is a few days from now. Anyways, that's kind of what we have right here. We obviously have the painted figures. Big Child Creative usually doing their thing over here. Obviously, the miniatures you get are unpainted. We have the Tabletop Simulator model, which they gave you the ability to actually go out and play it on Tabletop Simulator, which I thought was interesting. They don't usually do that. They also have the Keep Up to Date over here. They have the new. Oh, no, that's not. That's not what I thought it was. They have this new campaign tracker thing that they're doing, which I've talked about in previous videos. Obviously, time will tell how good the communication is. I know they did just hire, David Wainwright from MVM, so they have him on board as their new, communications director and all that. I don't know if that's his official title, but that hopefully might help as well, having someone who's very motivated to see the consumer side of things and all that. Shipping over here doesn't look too bad overall. Shipping coming in at, $40 for the Adventurers Horde. So if you look at previous CMON campaigns, the shipping is coming in at a fairly reasonable level compared to in the past. They have had very high numbers, and these look gosh darn reasonable by comparison. So that's kind of where we are. We have lots of content around the original Massive Darkness. They have all their live streams. We don't have anything else new happening with the new stuff. This is Massive Darkness 2 Dungeons of Shadowreach, which is basically Massive Darkness 2 Hellscape, but less exciting. And I don't mean that as a ding against CMON. Honestly, I'm kind of relieved. It means that they are almost leaning into like, hey, here's all this content, here's all this ways to get into the system, either as a new player or some returning, and it just feels less amazingly new stuff than the last time round, for better or for worse. So, I guess to sum up this should you back it? Should you back it? First of all, know if you have too many games you're not playing. Know if you have too many CMON campaigns and you're worried about things not showing up. Yes, if you are willing to take that risk, and yes, if you like the kinds of games that they put out. And as far as what you should back, you should probably try to be conservative and get the core box plus the class pack and call it a day there. Maybe the campaign expansion if that's something that you like to dive into. Personally, as much as I like campaigns, I already have campaigns, so I'm going to play others. So try to be conservative with what you get. and rest easy knowing that if you do get more stuff and you want to sell it, you can get your money back. Obviously, that is useless if it sits on the shelf gathering space as you talk about all the games you're not playing. That's not holding its value. That's taking up space. Anyways, with that is your, what's it called? Should you back it? Oh, let me switch to this screen over here. That's your should you back it for Massive Darkness, Dungeons of Shadowreach. A bit of a live should you back it today, which is different. I don't think I'm going to do this on a regular basis. Honestly, this was a combination of I realized I hadn't done a should you back it for this campaign, and I usually try to do for them for CMON. Like CMON, as much as some of the allure is gone, I'm still very much a fan of CMON actual games. It's the campaigns that some of the allure has gone, and they are the reason. They are definitely the reason why my channel did start to take off way back in the day. Like, I covered Marvel United and way back when, talking about why I was back in the campaign, and that was my first video that kind of blew up. And so I definitely have a soft spot for them, both in terms of my journey in YouTube, as well as a fan of their game. So I want to cover it today, and then I realized I also didn't have a plan for what my live stream was today. We weren't doing organizing. Organizing might be back in 2 weeks. Oh, by the way, there's no weekly live next week. I'll be at Gamma Expo. The week after that, oh my gosh, the week after that, probably not as well. Let me take a look. Calendar-wise, I have the 27th, I'll be at Gamma Expo, and then the 6th, I'll be at the Gamers Ranch. So 2 weeks in a row, there's probably not a live stream. The week after that, there'll be a live stream. Whether or not I try to find a way to do a bonus live stream, that we'll see. But as of right now, just plan around 2 weeks of no live streams. And with that, let's go ahead and catch up on the final aspect of chat, and then call it for the day. Part of me wants to just keep going for the next 20 minutes, but I'm also titling this video Should You Back It, so I'm trying to be mindful and respectful to those who watch it later and didn't just watch it live. Weston, the only change that would make the urgency of the game progression feel more like CMD is homicides, the darkness track escalating in both levels, spawn count, and minion count. Yes, but you have to escalate the heroes appropriately too. You have to balance both. Weston, I combine both minion and level escalation to Master Darkness 2 and love the new darkness track. You feel awesome, the game feels urgent and tight. You should play more Vindication. Vindication is great. Castle Burgundy is better. Sean Marks, beside class and difficulty options, what in this campaign are you the most interested in? Difficulty options and classes. That's it. Nothing else. Like, literally nothing else is... I mean, I'm not saying it's not interesting, but, like, that's the stuff that is more, I guess. The rest of it's just nice to have. Where are we? Fry McFly. Can you use Master Darkness 1 heroes with the upgrade pack for Master Darkness 2 with this? I assume so. Costas, if you do not have Master Darkness 2, which is the best combo to back? I think core game plus the hero pack. Achim Hassel, Castle Burgundy is my very first Kickstarter ever, and both my brother and I loved it. Great. Zimbo, Alex, Nemesis Retaliation versus Earth Under Siege versus Terminus Frontier versus Stalker. Which is best for solo play? Ooh. I want to say Stalker. I'm a sucker for Stalker. I love Stalker. No other. Is it a true dungeon crawler and random map each game, and I don't have the original 1 or 2? I mean... I don't think the maps are random. The maps aren't random. What pops out at any given point is variable, but the maps themselves aren't random. Although I resent the term true dungeon crawler. I find most games that are classified as dungeon crawlers, there's a whole segment that are like, those aren't dungeon crawlers. They are. They just might not be what you perceive as a dungeon crawler, but they're still dungeon crawlers. It's like me and drafting. Like when a game says it has drafting, to me, drafting is passing hands of cards to each other and you don't see them. But drafting actually also refers to open drafting, which is where there's cards on the table and you pick those up too. That's open drafting and it's a subgenre of drafting. But for me, I'm like, it's not drafting unless you're passing hands of cards. But ultimately, I just have to recognize that the term is all-encompassing. The recommended purchase to maximize your value is Core Box plus Massive Darkness School Class Pack. Thank you. I like the recent shake-up of different formats for the live streams. It's keeping things fresh. I do too. One of the biggest struggles I have as a content creator is trying to keep things fresh. Not just for the audience, but for me as well. Like, you can fall into the rote of day-to-day. It's one of the reasons things like, you know, what's it called? Oh my gosh, Play This, Not That. Like, I love the series Play This, Not That. I love the series of, you know, 12 by 12 reviews. Those are things that are different formats of reviews. And there's others I have in mind too. But then it's always hard, like, okay, great, do I actually do that or not? Like, can I sit there with this review copy and do a Play This, Not That with it? Does it fit into the format? They're always harder to do, but I want to do them more. And in general, trying to keep things interesting on the channel is always a struggle, again, both for you and for me. But as much as I possibly can, I want to, and trying to shake up the weekly live is a big part of one of my goals for this year. We'll see what else I can do as far as other content, because a lot of the rest of it is falling still into those formats. But we'll see. I'll try to shake things up when and where I can. Red, what are your thoughts about the crossover packs as Homicide and the vice versa pack in the White Death campaign? I mentioned this earlier in the stream. I think crossover packs are very rarely used unless you only have a few games in your collection, or are really hardcore about those games. I love these games and I barely touch them. Jerome, this is great, and I really appreciate you going through the comments. I try. Is Massive Darkness solid as a true solo game? I think so, yes. And I don't think Zombicide is. I don't think Death May Die is. Massive Darkness, I have played probably about as much of it solo as I have multiplayer, and I've enjoyed it solo. So I think, yes, it's from those. Honestly, if you want a reason why I keep Massive Darkness compared to the rest, I don't think I'd play the other solo. I could, but I don't think I would. Massive Darkness, I feel perfectly comfortable playing it solo. Cancel membership, Vindication is way better. You know what? I bet I can find more Castle of Burgundy fans out there, so I'm better off this way. Brian, successful. Notice how Alex skipped over my comments with expansion. I should cancel too. Where was he? I agree, successful. Alex still owes me Vindication play with expansion. You're not wrong. Actually, that's not true. I committed to doing it if Jenna actually shows up for Jenna Friday. So it's on you. Let's go ahead and text Jenna. Obligatory texting of Jenna. Let's go ahead and find this here. Okay. Jenna. Nope, that's not how I spell Jenna, because it's not with a K. Jenna. Okay. Brian says that you owe a Jenna Friday to play Vindication with expansion. Period. Don't forget he's paying for gas money. Okay, great. Message passed on. Brian, especially in BGA, no, where other way. That's fair. I also agree with you on drafting. That's true, you see. Successful. It's okay. I'm used to abuse from Alex. That wasn't abuse to you. That was just a game. Spread me, especially on BGA where he frequently destroys you. Actually, I think he's won the last like 2 or 3 games. T2, this is my type of game. I don't have any of it, so I went all in, but one expansion to add the Master Darkness 2 class back. Katie, how's Tamashi going? It's great, but slow. I've been playing through it. It's still on the table. I played a little bit yesterday. I'm halfway through the next game currently. It's going slow, but it is fun. But also, right now, I have a trip next week and a trip the week after that. I have 2 trips in a row, so I have been very much in and get everything done I possibly can. I'm hoping that the second half of March is where I really lean into Tamashi, but honestly, I'm still happy with the progress I'm making. So I mean, that's because I'm not good at board games. Alex should shake up the live stream with a game show with a professor, a gardener, and a crazy man. A professor, a gardener, and a crazy man? I don't get that. I agree that Master Darkness 2 is the best solo out of Zombicide Death May Die. You see, we're on the same page here. Jenna won't even call Catan. Well, she can't call Catan now. She has the 3D version. Any recent good 3D prints for you? So no, not anything particular. Honestly, my 3D printer got another little bit of a broken thing. The way it broke when I first got it, it happened again, so I ordered the part again. I just need to take the time to replace it. I still love it. It's the second time I've had a major issue with it, but I know how to fix it. It's just a pain to deal with. Anyways, when are we going to see a Meg call? That's for you to apply pressure to Meg. I have no idea. I'm staying away from that. Anyways, until next time, I am Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co. This has been your semi-weekly live. We will for sure not have a live stream next week. We might have a live stream on a different day the week after, but no promises at all. And then after that, we will be back the second half of March, I guess. So the next official live stream is currently going to be the 6th, the 13th. The 13th of March is currently the plan for the next official live stream. Anyways, and until next time, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co. I appreciate all of you for being here, and as always,